Hello, once again, welcome to Free to Speak. This is Bobby, and usually I am with Paul. Paul and I were unable to meet this week, so I wanted to do this brief interlude kind of video just to let you know that we're still out here and we still have plans in the future to do videos, and we have plenty of things that we would like to discuss. One of the things that we were planning on doing today, if we had been able to get together, so we were going to go over some of the comments that we've gotten from our last several videos. We did a series of videos on toxic politics, and then we did a couple episodes on cancel culture, and then we also did an episode on patriotism, and then we did an episode on stereotypes and false narratives that are oftentimes told about Uganda. And we've gotten several comments that I wanted to go over, that Paul and I wanted to go over, specifically related to these topics. And one of them was, we got a comment about the toxic politics. Somebody wrote, when they can't get their way, and I'm assuming he's referring to the politicians, they instead go forth damaging the reputations of their rivals. And in reality, that's very immature, but it's happening on the highest level and even between countries. The woke virtuous people, and he has virtuous in quotes here, so the woke quote-unquote virtuous people are the worst of this, he says, because they have invented a new slew of utopic moral laws which the world has never seen before. And Paul and I have talked about this many times, about kind of the moral high ground that oftentimes these woke, quote-unquote, individuals tend to stand on. And they are holding everyone accountable, he says, to these new agendas as if they are God that created heaven and earth. So a very interesting comment here that Paul and I will discuss next time when we do get together, but I wanted to kind of read this and some other comments here to give you a taste of what we're going to talk about next time. So hopefully you'll join us again in another 7 days when we can get together with another video. We also had a comment from somebody who commented about all of the we commented about Trump on several occasions, Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We commented about them when we did our toxic politics videos, and we commented about them when we talked about cancel culture. And we made several references about Trump and about why people support Trump. And somebody wrote, so your take is that people are voting for Trump because he's not part of the establishment and challenging the norms. Now, I don't know if this is quite what we said. I think it's pretty close. I think that the counter-establishment or the anti-mainstream political movement was around long before Trump was around. There have been people who have been disillusioned with mainstream politics, particularly in the US where I'm from, where people on both the right and the left are disillusioned with the establishment politicians, especially the Republican and the Democrat Party, both supporting the war narrative. And there are people who are calling for something different and want something different. And I think what happened was Trump capitalized on that movement that was already there. And so he's given a voice to those individuals and people, and so is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And I think that's why people support Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Donald Trump on the right and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the left, because they are listening to the voices of those individuals who are challenging the narratives, and they themselves are challenging the narratives. So yeah, Trump is not necessarily conforming to all the narratives that are out there, and that's one of the reasons why the establishment politicians hate him so much and why they're trying to demonize him so much. And you can argue that Trump's not perfect, he's got his own issues, and I won't deny that. But you have to ask the question, why do they hate him so much? If the people who support war, if the people who support the current corrupt political power structures for example, in the US, are telling you that somebody is evil, why do you believe them? If they're telling you to look right to see the truth, then what you should do is look left to see the truth. They tell you to look one way to see the truth, then you should look the other way. And I'm hoping when Paul and I get together next that this is one of the things that we'll be able to talk about a little bit more in depth. Have an interesting conversation about this. Somebody else wrote that they agree with, for the most part, with what we're saying. And he says, I think that the whole thing is a bunch of people trying to steer belief. In other words, they're trying to influence us to think in a certain way. But then he adds, but how do you know whether you become a conspiracy theorist or just looking for the facts? So that's an interesting thought here. What is a conspiracy theory, and how do you know that you're not just subscribing to some sort of conspiracy theory? And of course, real conspiracies do occur in the world. So just because something is a conspiracy theory, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's false. And so that's another thing I'd like Paul and I to discuss when we meet in the next episode. And maybe it'll take us several episodes to discuss all of these things that I'm bringing up here. But I'm giving you some idea of some of the things that we're going to be talking about in the upcoming weeks. You know, what is a conspiracy theory? And why do those in power, why are they so quick to call you a conspiracy theorist when you challenge the narratives? Where does the term conspiracy theory come from? You know, the CIA uses conspiracy theory to cover up for many of the things that they've done throughout history, such as overthrowing governments and so forth. And they say that if you say that the US has been involved in overthrowing governments, they call you a conspiracy theorist. So where does the term conspiracy theory come from? What does it mean to be a conspiracy theorist? Are conspiracy theories necessarily false because they are conspiracy theories? And do people actually conspire together for nefarious purposes in the world? So conspiracies may actually be true. So there's a lot to unpack with this one. And so stay tuned in coming weeks. Paul and I are going to be addressing that as well. We do have another comment from somebody. This relates to the music that we've been using at the beginning of our episodes. The song that we've been using is called Crazy, and it's by Simple Plan. And YouTube has been hitting us with some copyright, not really copyright strikes. They're letting us use the song, but they're not letting us monetize our videos because of the song. And they've also blocked access to our videos in some territories because we're using that song. So what we've had to do is we've had to kind of filter out the clarity of the song. So what you hear is you hear a little bit of maybe the song, and then it kind of fades into more like this distorted kind of music. And the reason that's happening is because we're having to distort that song in order to keep us from getting blocked because of the copyright issues that are coming up. So we've been using that song. But this person asks us, he says, for your opening music, you should use Ugandan music. And this is an interesting thought. You know, maybe we should use Ugandan music. Like most people in the US, I don't know much about Ugandan music. And he goes on to ask, what music do people listen to in Uganda? And he brings up also various American artists. He brings up Justin Bieber and a few others, and he wants to know if Ugandans listen to American music. What's the extent to which Ugandans listen to American music? And he finishes this by saying, with music, what types do Ugandans mainly like? People like me want to know the music people in Africa, such as Ugandans, like. So this is another thing Paul and I will be discussing in coming weeks as we discuss this particular comment. We're going to talk maybe a little bit more about the culture of Uganda, particularly the music that Ugandans like. You know, what's the music like here? Last week we talked about stereotypes and false narratives that are often told about Uganda. And then at the end of that video, we tried to show you some videos of what, Uganda really looks like, the beauty of Uganda. We showed you a video of the mall. We showed you a video of a busy street. We showed you the Lake Victoria, and we showed you a touristy area where people come and stay in hotels and just kind of walk around and enjoy things. And so yeah, we kind of confronted the negative stereotypes and narratives that are often told about Uganda. But now maybe what we'd like to do at some point in the future is dig a little bit deeper into Ugandan culture and show you some of the things that are here specifically related to culture. And one of the things that we can do with that is music, to introduce you to some of the music that people listen to in Uganda. So those are things that you can look forward to when Paul and I return. But like I said, right now, unfortunately, Paul and I weren't able to get together. We had plans to get together. We were just about to meet. And some things came up and we had to cancel those plans. But I wanted to do this video so I can make sure that I get something out this week. And just keep watching. In coming weeks, the things that I've talked about are going to be some of the topics that we're going to address, and there'll probably be more topics as well. And if there's anything that you would like to see in addition to these topics, please put them in the comments, and we will consider those for future discussion as well. So bye for now, and hopefully we'll see you in another 7 days. Bye.